Hola coleccionistas. Oh boy, that's me trying to say in Spanish, hello collectors. Um, so there's a gentleman, an Argentinian born man, Alejandro de Tomaso. He founded a car company in 1959 called De Tomaso, and he moved to Italy to become a F1 driver as well. So he's established a company there in Italy. And the brand itself, De Tomaso developed F1 cars for Frank Williams. So when you think about Williams F1 racing, I believe that's the same Williams. I might be wrong though. Please correct me if I am. Also, De Tomaso owned the Maserati brand of cars between 1975 to 1993. But for me, as a kid, I always knew about De Tomaso because they made a mid-engined sports car called the Pantera, and that Pantera was using a Ford V8 engine, but it had Italian styling to it. Which brings up a subject. Why doesn't someone make a premium Pantera? That's a cool car, right? I think someone should make a Pantera in a premium format. I'm not talking Hot Wheels premium. I'm talking real premium. Okay, well, anyways, the De Tomaso vanished. Apparently maybe those cars were not reliable. I don't think most Italian cars were reliable in the 80s and the 90s, possibly up until the last decade, actually. But anyways, the brand itself was revived by a Hong Kong company called Ideal Team Venture, and they created this car called the Apollo Intensa Emoción. And I did a video review of that not too long ago. I have that model, but basically I bring that car up because this model or this vehicle in real life is based off of that chassis. So now the chassis is all carbon fiber and is built to Le Mans prototype race regulations. So basically you're driving an LMP car around. So that's pretty impressive, I think. And just like the Pantera, this guy is supposed to be powered by a Ford V8, a 5-liter Ford V8 that's tuned by Roush Racing, and is supposed to make around 700 horsepower, and also 600 pound-feet of torque. And it's supposed to have a dry sump lubrication system, so you can handle some turning without losing oil to your engine. And the design inspiration was based off the De Tomaso P70 from 1965. And you can definitely see a resemblance to that. Okay. So that's the all trademark rights reserved. And there you go, yeah. So it is a licensed product, okay. I know some of you guys are sticklers on that one, which is cool. I'm not giving you a hard time. It's nice that you support companies that get licensing. And today I am doing that. So P72, there's supposed to be 72 of these cars built in the real world. This case is pretty good. It's pretty tight. I want to open vertically so I don't break off a mirror. I forget who gave me that tip, but it's a great tip. Okay. Open lengthwise. Alright, so that's a super tight fit. This is one case where you probably don't have to tape it together later. But ooh, I almost dropped that model there. I gotta develop a better method to open these things. Okay, so of these 72 examples, they're supposed to be priced around 900,000 bucks. So pretty expensive, but if you can buy an LMP prototype that you can actually drive on the streets, it sounds like a pretty good deal. I'm not gonna take this off the base. If I drop this, those mirrors are done for. Okay, so Peako here, they made 699 of these models. It's probably just in this color. There's also a sky blue version out, but I didn't see photos of a real car in sky blue, or I was just too lazy to look it up. But you can see that the sky blue is in the logo of De Tomaso itself, so that's probably a logical reason why the car is sky blue, the other model that is. But obviously I went with this color because it looks like that car. Alright, so let's get a closer look here. There, we focus on the model. Move it around a wee bit. Yeah, the wheels, sure. What do you guys think? I mean, for me, it does look like that photograph. I'm not seeing anything super different. Okay. That's not proper English, by the way. So don't try to learn English off me. Okay. Let's go this back view. Vents there. I guess only the taillights maybe don't look as bulbous. These taillights are rather flat, actually. See how flat they are? But these are sticking out quite a bit, as if they're almost half spheres. They're domed out quite a bit, it seems. Okay, so that'd be my nitpick there on that one, but I'm pretty sure this is the nicest model in 1/64 scale of this vehicle, so I gotta live with it, right? Alright, so it's just a plastic base, nothing too fancy, and I'm okay with that. I'd rather have the money put into the model than the packaging. Alright, so I guess we'll start with the side view as usual. Yeah, those gold rims. Or, I don't know if they're gold, they could be considered copper. Or, yeah, I guess they might be closer to copper. I'm not sure what you're going to see on your screen, but goldish copper. Alright. Anyways, the detail is nice, of course. And they do look like it, the photographs. Let's bust out the flashlight. Yeah, there's a brake system. There's a brake rotor. I can't see the caliper. It must be in there. There's just no way this model wouldn't have a brake caliper. Oh yeah, see in the back it's on the left side. It seems to just be a black brake caliper. I think maybe it's on the right side here. Alright. So, brakes are there. Next thing I'm noticing is this vent. You know, it's so huge. There's a separate piece of plastic here, and it's got a rough, like, texture. I guess it's probably a super fine screen on the real car, and so that's what they're trying to go for. But you can see a little texture there, right? Hopefully. Alright. The mirrors here. Yeah, there's a reflector for sure. Yep, there it is. Look at that. So if you want to do some makeup work, you can do that. Alrighty, headlights? Yeah, I guess I gotta get just the right angle so there's no reflection, but you can clearly see there's a headlight, a turn signal, another headlight, and probably a reflector. But then there's this silver stuff going on. It's not on the outside. So this is what I'm guessing. I'm guessing there's a clear piece of plastic and they glued a photo etched piece of metal to the inside surface to break up the light buckets. So that's a new one for me. I've never seen a model where they put a piece of metal inside the headlight cover. So that's cool. I mean, it's different, right? New skills in model making, or new processes in model making. Alright, so unfortunately well, there we go. You can see the tiny lights, right? Now I'm wondering, are these lights separate pieces? Or just paint? I'm going to try to zoom in here. Yeah, see the thickness of the silver? I wouldn't doubt if those are actually separate pieces, like pieces of metal glued to that black bucket. Unfortunately, these little turn signals are just painted on, and that one's not painted nicely. This is really thin plastic, as you can see. It's like packaging plastic or something, and they did their best to glue it. This might look ugly right here, but you gotta remember, this is the tip of a dental pick, something that fits in between your teeth, if you're really gap-toothed. But, anyways, it's not... Yeah, I guess it is noticeable to the naked eye. Yeah, alright. I am just looking at it off camera right now, and I can see it. It's a little rough. So, keep that in mind. I really wish I had worse vision. You know, if I had bad eyesight, I would think like every model is just spectacular. What's going on here? Okay. There's a depression here. I don't know if this logo is clear coated or not. I feel like it might be. I feel like it might be under... Well, no. Alright, I don't want to pick it at too much. If it's not clear coated, I'll scratch it off. The lights on this side, a little bit better. This looks like it's a separate piece as well. And this does look like gold, not copper. So what would this be, I wonder? Is this supposed to be a... I don't know. I mean, this is clearly the detomaso logo. What? Anyone leave a comment? What is that thing? Fuel filler? But who... No. I mean, who's going to put a fuel hose over the middle of such an expensive car, right? So I'm not sure what that is. Okay. So now I'm noticing there's a carbon fiber texture. And it's well applied. I'm going to guess it's a decal because it looks a little wrinkly. This clear coat is really nice. And this metal flake is really nice. This is like a... Well, I want to say burgundy, but not. It's kind of a mix of burgundy and copper or something. It's not a straight... It's not red. It's difficult to explain. So again, I apologize. But anyways, what I see and what your screen shows is going to probably be different anyways. Okay, so now we got a vent way down in here and radiator detail. You know, it's got two radiator fan ribbing there. Alright, so they got this wiper blade. It's a super thin photo etched piece of metal, so that's nice. All these windows are sheet plastic. This is not a molded window, so they're super clear, right? Although with the curvature of them, I'm not sure if you're going to see. Well, no, look at that dental pick. There's no distortion really, right? So that's how clear these windows are. I could sit and watch TV through this thing. So, which is impressive considering how curved these windows are. So, alright. This interior is nice. I mean, it's aided by the fact that these windows are so going over the roof. But look at this. I mean, you got the seat belts. They're black. P72 is written there on the top of the belts. There's some silver details for the little sliders. And then a buckle. It seems to be a decal, that seat belt, because again, you can see the wrinkliness. And there seems to be carbon fiber inside the interior, at least in front of the, right here on the dashboard. So again, on the high magnification, that paint is not the best. That I cannot see with the naked eye. I can't see this roughness. So that's good. Ah, boy, let's see here. Okay, that's a nice shot. Let's try to focus. Wow, I mean, imagine, I don't know, I'm just envisioning myself driving this thing on a sunny day. You're going to blind yourself, right? The sun is going to just reflect right off of this shiny interior and blind you. I don't know if the real one has a super shiny interior like this. Maybe it's a brushed finish. That would be a little more logical, but it's also going to get super hot. I used to have a milled aluminum shifter knob in my Miata, and I always left the top down. So I'd come into the car, and when I touched that shift knob, it was blazing hot because it was metal. Even though it was super shiny aluminum, it still got really hot. Okay, so anyways, that's just a weird, styling. But, maybe a lot of people, if people are buying a $1 million car, practicality obviously doesn't make sense, right? They just buy it for fashion and to show off. Okay, so that interior, yeah, I guess it's alright. Though, if I was critical, which I always am, I do feel like these gauges would have been nice to have something printed on them. Or wait a sec, maybe there is. See the little white circles? So those ones over here are vents, probably. And then you can see white circles there. Alright. They just don't look like instrument gauges. Like there's no dial, there are no arms like you'd see on a speedometer or a tachometer. Okay, well actually while we're here, let's look at that door panel. Yee, that doesn't look good at all. But, well, it's not so bad to the naked eye. Yeah, always remember, I'm magnifying it 4 times reality here. Okay, sheet plastic engine cover, and then the little texture again, and then this gold is nicely done. I don't know if that's just painted on or what. So now the question is there like an engine underneath that thing? Well, first of all, it's totally opaque. There's no translucency. But I don't think there's an engine. No, it looks like it's just a flat floor. It's okay. I would have been really impressed if there's a molded engine in there, but with such small slots. Ooh, boy, I almost ripped this thing off right here. So Peako, this is kind of weak, right? This plate is just silly. This additional thing. Why wouldn't you just tamp? If you're gonna print onto a piece of plastic, why wouldn't you just print all this directly onto this base? It seems like this is costing more money to make this little thing instead of, just setting up a jig fixture and you put a bunch of these plates in and then you print all this stuff onto the plate. This is kind of cheap, Oh well. Again, the model's more important. But, this model also wasn't particularly cheap, so you kind of expect some more for the money that you pay, right? Or at least I do. Alright, well, let's see here. So those taillights, yeah, that was the big criticism, I guess. The biggest criticism. They're just not rounded. These should be rounded. I don't know what, the CAD modeler was thinking that made this thing. If you're going to go through the trouble of making this piece, why wouldn't you just mold it properly? Okay, these vents here, they're nicely done. And then, yeah, a different type of texture here. And then I think these might be decals. Or foil stickers? I don't know. I have a suspicion it's a decal because you can see a little bit of the clear around the edges. Alright, so you don't want to touch those too often. Now the diffuser. Alright, that's another criticism. Those are pretty thick diffuser vanes. They're super thick because they're molded in plastic. Ideally, these would have been metal, photo etched pieces of metal, so they're thin like the real photograph. You can rewind back to that photograph. So that's a bit of a lazy cop-out on Peako's part, that as well. Just the thickness of these, they're way too thick. Alright, well, I guess that's it. I'm sure the bottom is nothing to look at. You can kind of see a hint of it there. It's just flat down there. There's nothing to see. So here's the car that it's based off of. And this is also made by Peako. I have a review on this. Now, in that review, you notice these two things here are pieces of photo etched metal, super thin. These two wing struts are some sort of metal as well, super thin. In fact, let me pause this thing or stop it. Right, so if this thing has super thin wing struts and super thin vertical barge boards here, so there's only 6 pieces of thin pieces of metal here. I think it would have been easily in the budget to put 4 thin pieces of metal here on these strakes, right? Because it's the same brand. They both cost around the same amount. Yeah, this one might have been a little less expensive, but yeah, it's strange. I mean, the brand is capable of doing that. This model better. They just chose to maybe cheap out a little bit. Okay, I should be called the critical small model collector. Very critical, but as usual, the more expensive a model becomes, the more critical I become. If a model costs 3 times as much as a Mini GT, I should be complaining 3 times as much. I don't actually complain about Mini GTs at all, because I think they're a great model for the money. They're not the greatest models, but the great models for the money. So that's the way I am. So hopefully we can agree or not. Everyone has their own opinions. But for today, a little bit of learning. I didn't even know that the Tomaso brand was revived, or is going to be revived. I read an article where I don't even think these are being built yet. I think they're trying to find a facility in America to build these cars, but I don't think that's been finalized. So this car we're looking at in the photographs, I think might be a one-off prototype that they showed off at the Goodwood Festival of Speed. Okay guys, well, if you like Italian flair, possibly built in America in the future, or very voluptuous looking vehicles, this thing looks like it's from the 1960s, right? It looks like almost like a Ferrari P4 a little bit. So if you like that kind of styling, then you might want to pick up this model. It definitely isn't perfect. It has definitely a few shortcomings, I think, for the price. It could have been done better. The brand has done better on this other one, right, on this guy. But still, as I mentioned earlier, I don't think there's a better version of this model in 1/64 scale, so you gotta live with those, shortcomings. Alright guys, I'll see you around in the next hypercar review. See ya.